Welcome back to Gary's Diary. In our last episode, we left a 16-year-old girl on the cusp of a new life, finishing school and starting her first job. Today, we delve into 1952, a year where the universe of her mind expanded at a dizzying rate. It was the year she tried to fit the entire cosmos into her head, while simultaneously trying to fit herself into a strapless bra. It was a time of grand ideas and equally grand anxieties, where debates on the meaning of existence held as much weight as the urgent, all-consuming quest for the right undergarment. This is the story of a young intellectual grappling with the profound and the profoundly mundane.
Thursday, 28th August. Got up rather late, had to go to post office for Mother Lucilla. By the time I finally arrived, school assembly had finished and Christian doctrine started. I merely said to Mother Eulalia, "I am sorry but did not know it was so late." What an excuse. After RK we tidied and polished desks and Noel hunted around for Abraham Lincoln's famous speech. At 11:15 the senior school assembled in hall and Huns came down while Mother Superior read reports. I came fourth, marks rather terrible. Before the whole thing was over, leavings and subs had to go back to classroom to Father O'Neill, who discussed our Christian doctrine thesis. Mine was Existentialism. By the time the discussion finished, all other kids had said the rosary and sung the holiday hymn. So Judy, Noel, Betty, Jocelyn, Marion, Adrian, Dorothy, Pam and I went into chapel, and Brenda played hymn and we sang. By the time we had finished, the grounds were cleared of children. We stood around, talked of a picnic, spoke to Mother Eulalia, then went home. In the afternoon I went with Marion and Mrs. Dudley to Marion's grandmother's, stayed at Marion's rest of afternoon. In the night, Mum, Monnie Robin and I went to the opening of the Kindergarten Congress. Speeches, a film on children's emotions and display of work. I am still on my diet, but have to finish tomorrow. I have kept strictly to the rules, but it is hard. It feels as though my entire life is a series of tests, one after the other. First the school exams, now a thesis on the very nature of being, and all the while this ridiculous diet. What is existence, anyway? Is it simply moving from one restriction to the next? Sometimes I feel like a ghost in my own life, just floating through the obligations. The nuns probably think existentialism is just a word in a book, but I feel it in my bones. The absurdity of it all. We sing hymns in the chapel, and I wonder if anyone else feels the colossal weight of just being here. It's a terrifying and thrilling thought. It makes the terrible marks seem so small, and yet so crushingly important. I wonder what Father O'Neill would say if I told him my real thesis is that life is a beautiful, confusing, and often boring mess. Probably give me a penance. Friday 29th. Slept in to be woken by phone call from Ian to say plans for pictures that night changed to uni dance. Went back to bed to read and sleep. Did a little work, had lunch, then had to go to a theory test in town. Not bad. Did it with Betty. Came home at 5. Had a small meal and wash, then had to return to town by 6 to go to tech. Learnt new sums, rather easy. Met Ian at 8 and went along in Art Turnbull's car with Gordon Shepherd, Ian's cousin, to uni. Didn't know many people there. It was a basketball dance, a rather mixed crowd. At 11:45, Ian, Gordon, Art and John Samuel and I went to Van Gogh. Beaut fun. Got home about 12:20. These nights feel like stepping into another world. One moment I'm puzzling over sums, the next I'm in a car with boys, heading to a dance where I know no one. It's like being a spy. I watch everyone, trying to figure out the rules. The girls who laugh easily, the boys who stand with their hands in their pockets. And then Van Gogh afterwards, with the steam from the coffee and the earnest conversations. We don't talk about existentialism there. We talk about films and dances and people. It's a different kind of life, one that doesn't require a thesis. It just requires you to be there. And I am. I'm there. At the party the other night, Neville, Ian, Jocelyn, Dumphy and I had discussion on literature. It got into an argument. Jocelyn and I defending Jane Austen and the others deploring her work and standing up for Steinbeck and Hemingway. Hence my book. They cried me down for appreciating Keats too, but I stood up for the youthful poet. The weather tonight is frightful. Thunder, lightning, rain make good sound effects for King Lear. I have seen Lear and The Merchant of Venice by John Aldercoe in Perth. Both good. I was going to Merry Wives of Windsor tonight, but the weather is so bad, Mum said she preferred me not to go. It was a proper row. How can they not see the brilliance in Austen? The precision of it, the way she exposes the whole world in a drawing room. They think it's just manners and bonnets. They want grit and dust and men who grunt. I tried to explain that the internal world is just as vast and dangerous as any battlefield in Hemingway, but they just laughed. And Keats! To call him anything less than a genius is pure ignorance. To feel so much, so young. I feel a kinship with him. This deep, aching feeling for the beauty and sadness of everything. I suppose it's not a very popular opinion at a party. It's easier to talk about basketball dances. Tuesday, 2nd September. I got up about 9:30, had a bath, got dressed, had breakfast, then started. Did out the lounge room, electroluxed, polished, dusted, made the beds and swept through, did kitchen, etc. Not bad for a morning. Mum washed. Gee, I wish we or at least she had a washing machine, it looks such hard work. At 1 p.m, I started to get the lunch and in walked Monnie and Robin for a cuppa. Did they give Patty an ear bash? Everything she does and says is wrong. Roy is the white-haired boy of the family, not only at Patty's either. I asked Robin for the loan of her orangey frock to wear of on Thursday night. I am going to the engineers' dinner at the university with Ian McBean. It should be good. At least I hope so. Mon and Robin went at 2. Mum and I washed up, swept up, and then I finished Farewell to Arms. What a sad book it is. It's so different from Jane Austen, I can barely see a comparison. I have just been down the butcher's and now I'm doing a little study maths and after history. In the evening I did a bit to geography prac. Book. So I finished Hemingway. And it is sad. It's profoundly, devastatingly sad. And yet it is beautiful. Maybe the boys at the party were right. There is a power in that starkness that Austen doesn't have. But it's not better, just different. It's like comparing a thunderstorm to a perfectly cut diamond. Both have their own kind of frightening beauty. And in the midst of all this thinking about life and death and literature, I have to ask to borrow a frock. The whiplash is enough to make you dizzy. 1 minute, you're contemplating the futility of war. The next, you're wondering if an orangey ballerina frock will make you look sophisticated. I suppose this is what being a young lady is. A constant, jarring shift between the sublime and the ridiculous. My list of things to worry about today. 1. The inherent sadness of the human condition as depicted by Hemingway. 2nd. Whether Ian McBean will be a good conversationalist or if I'll have to do all the work. 3. Passing my maths exam. 4. Getting Robin's frock and it not fitting or looking awful on me. 5. Mum working so hard with the washing. It's not right. 6. Whether I will ever be truly understood by my peers. It is an exhausting list. Thursday, 4th September. This morning I did not wake until 10:15. I got up straight away, had breakfast, plus did a bit of work, had lunch. After the meal I went to town to get strapless bra to wear tonight. Met Marion and Marlin Thomas in town, and had a chat. When I arrived home the washing machine was there. Dad had ordered it secretly without Mum knowing, I was told last night. At 6 Ian called with Malcolm Atkinson in his car. I wore Robin's frock, felt a bit slim. We called for Noel and went to the engineering faculty. Dry plus sweet sherry at first, then went to the dinner which lasted until about 8:30. All very posh, you could count the blokes out of dinner suits. Ian wore one but Mal didn't. In between the dinner and the dance after we went up to Noel's, Ian and Mal were the only first-year students there, so there was just the 4 of us in the party. But we had beaut fun, at least I did. The dance proved to be pretty good too. I got home about 12:45, what a day. The mission for the strapless bra was a success. It felt scandalous, buying it in the department store, like a secret piece of architecture that only I would know about. It is the foundation, literally, for feeling like a grown-up. And then to come home and find the washing machine. A true shock. Dad just standing there looking pleased with himself. Mum was speechless. She just kept touching it as if it were a spaceship that had landed in our laundry. It hummed. A sound of the future. And then, in a flurry of sherry and borrowed taffeta, I was off to the engineers' dinner. It was all so terribly formal. The boys, so serious in their suits, talking about things I didn't understand. I just smiled and tried to look intelligent. I felt a bit slim, which was a victory. The strapless bra did its duty, a silent, heroic soldier beneath the frock. We were the only first years, a little island of inexperience in a sea of world-weary second and third years. But it was fun. It felt important. I felt like a character in a book, perhaps not one of Jane Austen's, and certainly not one of Hemingway's, maybe just one of my own. My rottenest wardrobe seems a lifetime away, but it's only been a year. Here is a list of what's important now. 1. A strapless bra that stays up. 2. Friends who will lend you their best frocks. 3. A secret-keeping father who buys modern appliances. 4. Knowing when to just smile and nod when engineers talk. 5. Getting home late and feeling the thrill of it, the quiet streets, the sleeping houses, and me wide awake with it all. The world feels full of possibilities tonight. It feels like more than just an absurd, meaningless existence. It feels like a dance.
And there it is, the perfect snapshot of a teenage life in 1952. Debates about Keats, followed by the secret acquisition of a washing machine, a thesis on existentialism, and the desperate vital search for a strapless bra. The two worlds weren't in conflict. They were the same world. For a girl on the verge of adulthood, the architecture of a good bra could feel just as critical as the architecture of a good argument. One held up your dress, the other held up your view of the world. And on some days, it was hard to say which was more important.